Right, today's comic is a fairly simple one because there isn't all that much going on with the line work. I mean, it's mostly blank space with the character being pretty much the only thing that's colored. And this is something I would have pretty much kicked myself over, um, even just a year or two ago when drawing my comic. However, I've been saying this with a few of these videos in the past while, but I've been getting more and more comfortable with um, just utilizing blank space in my comics. Um, like I did think about putting in some kind of a background in this comic. In fact, just like the cat constantly changing throughout the comic, I was thinking of having like a different background in each panel, and part of me regrets not doing that, but another part of me thinks it works just fine as is. Like, I would like to put all the time I could into doing like beautifully rendered backgrounds and whatnot, but sometimes I've just got to get these things done. And thankfully, this comic being the way it is, it kind of works. Um, like, I almost wanted this to be something along the lines of like an animation tutorial, like showing different frames of like an animation, but each frame is completely different. That said, I did decide I would relent somewhat with the last panel, where I mean it's almost like a comfort food kind of thing for me at this point, where that background is a sky and big fluffy clouds. Like I seem to really enjoy drawing and coloring such scenes. And I mean, it made sense to have like a sky with these clouds in the background for that last panel because the cat is like flying. But I did think about having it being like a weird cosmic kind of scene, but I don't know. Something about the sky and clouds just felt better to me somehow. Um, So on top of like the line work being simple, the color work is fairly simple to go with it too, with the cat just being this like just various shades of pink with a bit of purple shading added. Um, the most complex of the panels to color was the second one because like there's so many different shapes going on there that I wanted to make sure the lighting looked somewhat consistent. It's not as good as it could have been, but it works. Another one where I wanted the lighting to work really well was the fifth panel with the muscular cat. Um, like I knew that I wanted the like that was one case where I knew precisely that the light would be coming down from above and would be hitting the chest, and because the chest is out so far, not much of the body below gets lit, barring the outstretched leg, like the right leg. Um, and this was an interesting one for me to work on because I colored this very far from home. Like I worked on this comic and the next comic that'll be going up in 2 days. I I worked on both of these out at my brother and sister in law's place, which is on the other side of the country. Um, and I mean, it was interesting for me to be able to do my color work to my fairly high standards. I would like to think high standards, but doing it like away from home. Like typically when I'd be like doing my color work away from my home location here, I would use this laptop that I'm speaking to right now, and I have an old Wacom bamboo tablet, which is it's kind of like their budget tablet. In fact, it's the very first tablet I've ever owned. Like I got it back in when did I get it? Back in 2013. Yeah, back in 2013, and it's fine. It gets the job done, but its pressure sensitivity isn't all that great, which means I can't quite get the same kind of subtle gradients and like blending effects with it that I could with my Cintiq and of course now my iPad Pro. So it was just nice to be able to um, sit down in my brother and sister-in-law's place and just be able to do my work on a very small portable device. Like I didn't have to lug a whole ton of stuff with me. I just had to bring, you know, this iPad along, and that was about it. Um, and I mean, you're probably sick of me saying this at this point, but I can't overstate how great it is for my process to be able to do that, to be just that bit more mobile with my work. I mean, there could be days where, say, for example, when I'm working here, that I might decide that I'm not in the mood to work in the house, that I'd much rather go sit in a cafe somewhere and do my work there. And, you know, that would just be, it would just be nice to be able to have that option. Um, Whereas, before, like, I would be tied down to this desk. And yeah, it's something that you don't really think about, when you're in that situation where you're tied down to a single spot. But it's amazing what just a change of location can do for you and your work. Like when I was coloring these comics, it didn't really feel like work. It was very relaxed. I was sat like in the kitchen at my brother and sister in law's place, and I mean, it's not like my work process was any different, but just the change of location just made it feel less like work, and that's that's a big thing for me. That's something that, like, as expensive as the iPad was, um, that was what like that alone is well worth the price for me. Just being able to do that, like yeah, it's great, and I look forward to being able to do more of that. So yeah, so I think I've rambled on long enough. I will leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you at the next video. Take care.